Well, comment guys. Was not able to see Friday's notes with the Google Drive. Is there? Unuploaded. I'll upload. Echo voice. Voice. Now, am I audible now? Now perfect. Okay. Yeah, Friday's notes is Friday means last class of Saturday or Friday. Saturday notes will be there in Spring Boot core module. I have not created. Fine. Yes, guys. Spring Boot is equal to Spring minus XML configurations plus auto configuration. What is auto configuration? Based on the special jars, which are called starters that are added to class path, certain things will happen automatically. What are those? It makes certain predefined classes as Spring Beans. Inject certain predefined Spring Bean object to other Spring Bean objects. Injections also. Gives embedded database software. Gives embedded servers, right? And it gives additional jar file. Based on the main jar file you have added, it will give dependent relevant jars also. Dependent we know, but relevant also. That means side by jar, supporting jars also it will give. Next, it will give more plugins that are required. So many things it does automatically based on the starters that are added. Starters nothing but main jar file or special jar files. Okay. Spring Boot starters. We are going to discuss about what? Spring Boot starter. These are special and advanced jar file in Spring Boot programming, having capability to perform what? Auto configuration activity. The auto configuration activities are to perform common things dynamically that are required in what? Application development. That are required in what? Application development. Super guys. Configuration of certain predefined class as Spring Beans, performing dependency injection among the Spring Beans, providing dependent and relevant what? Jar files, providing embedded what? Database softwares, providing embedded servers, supplies the necessary plugins required for what? Maven or Gradle tool, gives database connectivity configurations. So many things are there or not there, guys? Okay. Already we discussed embedded database software means the database software within the application, not separately installed. Embedded server means the web server or application server software within the application. Are you getting my point? Super, guys. H2, HSQL, all these are the examples for embedded database software. Tomcat, Jetty, Undertow, all these are examples for what, guys? Embedded server or in-memory server, embedded server, both are one and the same. What is the syntax of Spring Boot starters, guys? Spring hyphen, boot hyphen, starter hyphen, star. Spring Boot starter JDBC, Spring Boot starter web, Spring Boot starter batch, Spring Boot starter security, Spring Boot starter JPA. A typical starters will look like this. They are also jars, guys, but special jars. What's the difference between normal jar and starter jar? When you add normal jar in Maven or Gradle project, you will get main jar file, dependent jar file till the bottom of the hierarchy. That's it. When you add starters, you will get starter related main, dependent, all the bottom till that bottom, whatever dependents are there, they will come. Plus, relevant jars also will come. What is meant by relevant? Relevant jars content is not used by any main jar file, but still relevant jars will come. Assuming these jars also may be used. Assuming these jars also may be used. Something like this. Something like this. You purchased ice cream, right? They give ice cream cup. To eat the ice cream, they will give ice cream spoon also, right? Ice cream cup is main item, spoon is the dependent item. That's good. That's the main and dependent. But on safe side, they also give 2, 3 tissue papers. This tissue paper is a relevant item or not there. Without that also ice cream can be eaten. Ice cream can be tasted, right? But if you give tissue paper, there's a possibility of what? Cleaning your mouth or cleaning your hand whenever if ice cream spills here and there, right, boss? So here's tissue paper comes under what, guys? Relevant item. What item? Okay. Similarly, I have added starter Spring Boot JDBC, Spring Boot starter JDBC. All database related main development jars will come. Okay. In this process, I may use some connection pool. Instead of creating connection object directly, I may use set of readily available connection objects. So by assuming he may use connection pool, it will give Hikari CP as the one jar file. The classes of Hikari CP is not used by Spring Boot starter JDBC jar and it's dependent, but still it will come by assuming that, okay, JDBC means connectivity will be there. In that process, he may show interest of what? Using connection pool support. So let's give Hikari CP. CP means connection pool, right? Jar. So this Hikari CP jar is what? Relevant jar or dependent jar? Relevant jar. So in Maven Gradle, when you add any jar file, main jar and dependent jar till the bottom of the hierarchy will come. That's no tension, right? There's no tension in that. But when you add a starter, main, dependent till the hierarchy, come on. But relevant jars also will come. That means related jars. The classes of related jar never be used by any main jar dependent jar, but still they will come by assuming this fellow may show interest of using them. Like a tissue paper kind of thing, right? Okay. If application uses third-party APIs or libraries other than Java JW API, then we need to add what? API related main jar files and dependent jar files to class path are not there. If the classes of first dot jar are using class of second dot jar, then we can say first dot jar is main, second dot jar is dependent jar files are not there. While working with frameworks or third-party APIs or libraries, finding main jar files is easy, but identifying their dependent jar file and transitive dependent jar files of main jar file is very difficult or not there. Okay, what do you mean by transitive dependency? Getting main and indirect dependent jar files is called what? Arranging transitive dependents. What is there? Arranging transitive dependents. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Maven, Gradle, etc. build tool simplifies this job. If you add main jar files, dependency or info to these tools, they automatically download both main jar files and direct indirect dependent jar file. Okay, transitive dependents also will come or not there. Array, this is a known fact only, right, boss? If you work with even on Gradle tool, when you add main jar file, you will get more main and dependent jar files are not there. Yeah, now this is the actual point. If you add Spring Boot starters info to application using Maven Gradle, not only we get what? Both main and not only we get both direct and dependent jar file, we also get what? Relevant jar files. What file, guys? We also get a relevant jar file. Check it out. I have added Spring Boot starter JDBC to the project. Okay. Spring Core jar file, Spring JDBC jar file, Spring Boot core jar file, Hikari CP jar, Log4j, SL4j, Jackson API jar. Look at this Spring Core, Spring Boot core are main jar files, guys. Right? Spring JDBC jars also main dependent all this stuff, right? But this Hikari CP, Log4j, Jackson API, these jar files are called what? Relevant jar. That means the classes of these three jar files will never be used by classes of main jar files or dependent jar files, right? But still they will come by assuming, oh, this fellow may do logging. Let's do logs for logging jar file. This fellow may give some JSON processing, JSON data processing. Whether we do or not, secondary. He will give JSON API jars. This fellow may use connection pool. It will give what? Connection pool jar file. So that's the beauty of starters are not there. What's the difference between adding Spring Boot starter to Maven project, adding normal jar file to Maven project? When you add normal jar file to Maven project, Maven will download main dependent, nothing but transitive dependent jar files. When you add Spring Boot starters to Maven project, you will get main jar file, dependent jar file, relevant jar file. See, Spring Core related main dependent jars are coming. Spring Boot core related main dependents are coming. Spring JDBC related main dependents are coming. But we are also getting what? Relevant jar files, assuming this fellow may use connection pool Hikari CP. This fellow may do logging activities for that one log4j, SL4j jar. This fellow may process JSON data in this whole process. What is that? This, what is that? He will give what? Jackson API jar file. Jackson API is there to process what? JSON content. Jackson API is there to process JSON content. See, in our real life also, for certain activity, main items will be there, dependent items will be there. There will be side by optional relevant items also will be there. What, guys? Optional relevant items also will be there. Suppose you are preparing biryani, chicken biryani. Main items are what? Chicken and rice. Dependent items are what? All masalas and other things, right? Yes or no, na, guys? But there will be relevant items also. Yeah, some people likes taking soft drinks along with the biryani. Some people likes to take salad along with the biryani, right? Some people likes to have some other special combinations. So they are what? Main items are relevant items. They are not main item. They are what? At the same, they are not dependent also. They are just what? Relevant. Okay. Here you observe. Relevant jars are not dependent jar files of main jar file because the classes of main jar file do not use the classes of what? Relevant jar file directly or indirectly, but they will be required in overall application development. Okay. Now, final conclusion is Spring Boot starter gives main jar files, transitive dependent jar file, immediate dependent, later dependent, plus relevant jar files. What is missing in normal project, guys? Normal jar file, relevant will not come. No rocket science, just relevant jars also coming. So far, what happened? Directly, indirectly, dependents come, main jar file come. Some relevant also will come to make our life more simplified, nothing else. Okay. We can collect these starters info required from Maven Gradle from what? mvnrepository.com. mvnrepository.com. See, guys, it's like a regular dependency tag only, na boss. Then how to identify it's a starter? In the jar file name, starter word will be there. Spring hyphen, boot hyphen, starter, fixed wordings. Fixed wordings. Then JDBC starter. JPA is mean JPA starter. Something else is there means something else starter, right? Okay. Yeah, in Gradle, it is having Gradle syntax. Still, I have not introduced Gradle, guys. Don't worry much. Okay, since I discussed about what, guys? Connection pool. I have just given one diagram of connection pool. See, connection pool is a factory that contains what? Set of readily available JDBC connection objects. But to create new object, to access existing object, to remove existing object, there should be one entry point for connection pool or not there. And that entry point is nothing but what? Data source object. That entry point is nothing but what? Data source object. Data source object represents JDBC connection pool having set of what? Readily available JDBC connection objects before actually being used. Are you getting my point? One is Ikari CP, other one is Proxul, other one is what? C3P0 and etc. C3P0 and what? Etc. Tell me. Data source object represents what? Hikari CP JDBC connection pool, and it will get connection objects from connection pool or not there. Super. All the operations of JDBC connection pool done by data source object, like creating new connection, accessing existing connection, deleting existing connection object. All these activities are done by whom, guys? Done by data source object on JDBC connection pool. Are you comfortable, my dear? Come on, everyone. Understanding my statement, guys. Come on, everyone. Yeah, why connection pool, sir? My application wants to talk with the database software 1,000 times. Creating 1,000 connection is good, huh? Just keep 100 connection objects ready and use them for 1,000 times. What is ready, boss? What is good? For 1,000 interaction, better to have 1,000 connections, one by one. Or you create what? 100 connection, keep them ready as a pool of connection. Use for 1,000 times. Because I know that though I'm talking to database 1,000 times, but at a time it may need 50, 60 connections, right? On safe side, I'm keeping 100 connection objects ready. Using these 100 connection objects, better to talk with the database for 1,000 times or not there. This gives reusability or not there. Okay, let us assume Naresh IT is conducting in this room 7 batches per day. Asked every student to bring their own chair. Okay, now online students are there. Let us assume offline students are 200 members are there each batch. 7 into 2. Purchasing 1,400 chairs is easy. Yeah? Okay, management purchasing 200 chairs and using for what? All the 7 batches is easy, yeah. Though 49 students are there, at a time this room is can allocate what? Only 200 students. So management purchasing 200 chairs using for 7 times is good. Or asking student to bring their own chair, overall getting 1400 chairs is good. Reusability should be there or not there. So here what's happening? Chair pool is happening. Pool means set of readily available objects. Cache means set of different item. Pool means set of same item. Pool gives reusability of same item. The cache gives reusability of different items. Everyone got the clarity on this, guys? Okay, only two things you have to remember. Starter, special jar file. In what way it is different? When you add to Maven or Gradle project, okay, it will give main jar files, dependent jar file. In fact, transitive dependent jar files plus what is there? Relevant jar files. What jar files, guys? What jar files, my dear? Relevant jar files. Are you getting my point there or not there? There are multiple JVM based languages. Java, Scala, Groovy, Kotlin and what, etc. All these languages have their own programming syntax and compilers, but they give common bytecode, which can be executed in the common JRE JVM. That's why they are called JVM based languages, now, my dear. .java compile, you will get dot class. Groovy compile dot class. Scala dot class. Kotlin dot class. But all this dot class can be executed by using what? Same JRE JVM are not there. That's why these are called JVM based languages are not there. Okay. 3.5, what is this? In the one more latest version has come recently, that is 3.5.5. I think August, in the August 2025 it has come. August 2025 it has come. Why do you need starters in Spring Boot applications? Number one, based on the starters that are added to class path of the project, Spring Boot take care of lot of auto configuration, giving embedded databases, embedded servers, okay, giving some jar files, giving some plugins, making certain predefined classes as Spring Bean. All these things happen because of starters only. Next, based on starter that are added to class path of the project, the build tools like Maven, Gradle starts giving main jar files, dependent jar files, and what? Relevant jar file. Because of these two things, we need the support of starters are not there. Fine. Okay, let it be, guys. Sir, why are you asking me to understand JVM based languages? Simple reason, guys. Spring Boot programming not only possible in Java, you can use to we can develop in what other JVM based languages like Groovy and Kotlin. These are other two languages. That means we have total 3 languages to do coding of what? Spring Boot programming. But are we going to prefer that? No. Why? Are we going to prefer Groovy and Kotlin? No. It's a altogether separate language with a separate syntax. Why I will spend my time on it? Definitely not. I will not spend my time on it, right? Why I will waste my time on it? Definitely not, right? So what I do? I prefer working with the Java because I'm familiar with that. Moreover, Java is upgrading fastly compared to those people. What Java people are doing, especially when acquired by Oracle Corporation, they are giving their own new feature. They are also inspiring from what? Other JVM based features, JVM based language feature. They are adding to what? They are simply adding to what, guys? Come on, Java. So when Java is continuously growing, it is up to date. Why should I use other languages? Not required. I'll tell you a few examples. Already I have told this. Lambda expressions, functional programming is not originally given by what? Java. It is originally given by Scala language. But it is doing well by inspiring from that Java people got added. But at the same time, they are also adding their own features, side by features. So Java is continuously growing. Observe very carefully. Up to Java 8, they used to take 1.5 years to release each major version. Okay. But from Java 8 onwards, okay, they're just taking 4 months, 5 months only to release the new versions. That it's for certain major releases, they have taken 2 months time only. So like this, it is growing. I think Java 25 is already out, right? And in 25, I think not only Python is having AIML features, now Java also got somewhat AIML features. So earlier, what is that? You want to get into AI data science, Python is required along with the Java because some features are there in only Python. But now such libraries got added in what? Java. Already Python is weakened in web application development because of security issues. Distributed application development again because of security issue. Python is doing very well only in two areas. One is IoT, Internet of Things. Next one is what? Data science. That means AIML area, right? In data science, Java is also there. But in certain areas, Java cannot be used, Python can be used. Okay, now that area also Java is entering. Java has got libraries supporting AIML programming features. But let's see what industry opts. Java is ready, but whether industry entertain Java or still continue with what? Python, we have to wait and see that, right? Okay. We can do coding of Spring Boot application in multiple JVM based languages like what? Java, Groovy, Kotlin. Since all are habituated with the Java, so Java is recommended. Convinced, guys? I'm talking about Spring Boot features first. Spring programming means can be done only in Java. Spring Boot programming, we have an option to do in what? Java, Kotlin, Groovy. But I am going to prefer what? Java. Spring Boot and its modules give Spring Boot and its what? Modules give new annotations by combining multiple relevant annotation to reduce the burden on the programmer. It's given some advanced annotation where small other annotations are mixed. For example, they have given REST controller, which is combination of what? Controller plus response body. Instead of using two annotations, you can use what? One annotation. Interesting or not there? Spring Boot application annotation is given, which is required almost in every Spring Boot project. The configuration plus enable auto configuration plus @ component scan. What is that? Component scan. It's a combination of how many annotations? So that means while making my class as configuration class, I prefer this one or these three annotations separately. Yeah. Anyhow, every day we are using configuration and component scan. So when it is part of some other bigger annotation, we try to use that bigger annotation only, na boss? Okay. We can develop and test Spring Boot applications without installing what? External database software, web server or application server software, because the Spring Boot application execution itself can give embedded database software, embedded servers based on the starters we add. Based on the starters that we add. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Super. Spring Boot starters reduce number of jar file that should be added by programmer to the project. The each starter gives main jar file, dependent jar files, and what? Relevant jar files. Main jar files, dependent jar files, and what? Relevant jar files. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Main jar files, dependent jar files, and what? Relevant jar files. Okay, that's good. Next one. Converting existing Spring projects to Spring Boot projects is very difficult and not recommended. Okay, this is very important. Why? In Spring, no auto configuration. Every predefined class, we only make Spring Bean. Na? In Spring Boot, auto configuration is there. If you convert Spring project to Spring Boot, already you made predefined class as Spring Bean. Based on the starters that you have added, it makes some predefined class as Spring Bean. Okay, same class has become Spring Bean twice. One is by manual process, one is through auto configuration. Clash may come or not there. Come on, guys. So that's why migrating Spring projects to Spring Boot is a very bad thought. So always prefer Spring Boot for greenfield projects, not for brownfield projects. Sir, what do you mean by greenfield and brownfield? Listen, it's a technical words. Everything developed from scratch level freshly, that is called greenfield project. Brownfield means, right? Hmm. Already something is there, you are extending it. That is called brownfield project. That is technically called what, guys? Brownfield. Convinced am I here? Greenfield, brownfield. When I use the term greenfield, new projects. Brownfield, extension of the existing projects. Okay, I'll put like this. I'll put like this. Yeah, I can say uh, in Gujarat, one new city is happening. What is that? Vadodara. Smart city is building up. What is that? Vadodara. Yeah, that can I say that is a greenfield city. Why? From the beginning, they planned. From the beginning, they planned and developing. That is called greenfield city. Chandigarh, greenfield city. They planned from scratch. Whatever things that are happening in Hyderabad comes under what? Brownfield city. Already Hyderabad is there. Now extensions are happening, right? Bangalore, brownfield city. Mumbai, brownfield city. But in AP, in Andhra Pradesh, right? New capital is under preparation, right, boss? Under making, new capital. So can I call that one as greenfield capital, boss? Amaravati. Because they're planning everything from scratch level. Okay, fine. Already one highway is there, but they are making 4-line highway to 6-line highway. Can I call that one as brownfield highway? No, they are creating a new highway freshly. Can I call that one as greenfield highway? I think recently in Mumbai to Nagpur, one new highway is created, right? Mumbai to Nagpur, one new highway has been laid. So that comes under what, guys? Greenfield. Mumbai to Pune, existing road was there, right? But they made it as what? Bigger road by keeping traffic that is flowing every day. So that can I call that highway as what? Brownfield highway na, boss? So overall conclusion is what? Spring Boot is not good for brownfield projects. Spring Boot is good for what? Field projects. Converting Spring projects to Spring Boot project is a bad thought. It's always prefer Spring Boot to develop fresh projects, not for migrating Spring to Spring Boot. That's good. Hyderabad is brownfield capital. Chandigarh is what? Greenfield capital. What is this problem every day? Call them. Please call them. Spring Boot plus Spring minus XML configuration plus this. Okay, fine. I hope you understood, guys. What are the features of Spring Boot? We can do coding in multiple languages. Next, new annotations are given by mixing up existing multiple annotations, right? No need of arranging database softwares and servers separately. We can work with what? Embedded servers and embedded database softwares, right, guys? Okay, next one. Spring Boot starters reduce what, guys? Number of jar file that should be added by the programmer to the project, because of starters we are getting main dependent relevant jar file. And Spring Boot is not great for what? Brownfield project, but it's super great for what? Greenfield project. Especially it is super great for microservice architecture projects, right, boss? For microservice architecture projects, it is super great. Why, sir? Or in microservice, one project will be there or lot of projects will be. In lot of projects, a lot of common activities we should do now, boss. But auto configuration feature will simplify what? Microservice architecture based projects development are not there. Spring, the auto configuration feature of, why it won't allow now? Color problem, huh? Okay, understood. The auto configuration feature of Spring Boot simplifies. The auto configuration feature of Spring Boot simplifies. What, guys? Simplifies the microservice architecture based projects development. The microservice architecture based projects development. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Right. Important components of Spring Boot. What is there? Important components of what? Spring Boot. This is my auto configure core CLI actuator starter tools. These are the main components of Spring Boot framework. All components. Okay, let's understand one by one. Spring Boot auto configure. What it will do? Based on the starters that we have added. Come on. So it will do many common things automatically and dynamically, my dear. Already we discussed a lot about this feature, guys, right? Module to auto configure a wide range of Spring projects. It will detect availability of certain framework. When added, it will try to auto configure that framework with some sensible default, which in general can be overridden by configuration in application.properties or YML file. By default, something it will come. You don't want, you can change those things from where? Application.properties file or what? YML file. Next, Spring Boot core. Base module for all modules are not there. And it will give basic things like creating containers, recognizing some properties file. Listen carefully. Application.property file, you need not to configure. That will be recognized automatically every process. Taking command line argument, putting them as values to Spring Beans will also happen internally. All these activities are taken care by Spring Boot core or not there. Okay, in Spring Boot, not only property file, we have an alternate to property file that is called YML, YAMLing markup language. I'm going to introduce one by one. So this property file or YAMLing file will be recognized automatically by Spring Boot. Container creation is internally done. All these things are taken care by Spring Boot core module are not there. The base for other module, but it also provides some functionality that can be used on its own. Using command line argument, YML files as Spring environment property sources and automatically binding environment properties to what? Spring Bean properties. Everything will be taken care by Spring Boot core or not there. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Which can be used to provide inputs to Spring Boot framework. Next, Spring Boot CLI. The command line interface based on Ruby to start, stop Spring Boot created applications. What applications, guys? Spring Boot created applications. Are you understanding my statement, guys? A command line interface based on Ruby to start, stop Spring Boot created applications. Nothing is there, guys. Not only using IDE, from command prompt, some commands are given. Command 1 project created, command 2, okay, project source code compiled, command 3 project packed. Like this, from command prompt also you can develop. But nowadays, who is developing? That's why it's a useless one. Don't worry much. Okay, na? Right. Spring Boot actuators. Okay, this is very interesting. Any software project you take, guys, it's a combination of two features: functional features, non-functional features. Functional feature means what? Main feature for which project is created. You take a bank project, opening account, closing account, withdraw, deposit, transfer money. These are the main features, na boss? That's called functional features. Then what about non-functional feature? Security, logging, auditing. Come on, guys. Getting threats information, getting processes information, getting objects information, getting memory information. Why these are required, sir? Are to enhance the project utilization, boss. Without non-functional feature, can you get the protection on functional features? Can we maintain the projects effectively? I notice memory is going out of range. Then I will see all the threats. If any unnecessary threats are there, I will kill them or not there. I will see all the objects. If any unnecessarily objects are created, I will destroy them or not there. For that one, first of all, I should know what they are or not. Okay, these are called non-functional features. For end user, functional features. For the company who want to maintain the project smoothly for long time, even non-functional features also required or not required? Even non-functional features are required or not required, guys? I want reply from you people, guys. Even non-functional features are required or not required, guys? Okay. The project when added will enable certain enterprise features to your application. As the auto configure module, it uses auto detection to data certain framework of application. For example, you can see all REST services defined in your web application using what? Actuators. We have 13, 15 ready-made services are there, but they don't deal with main feature. They deal with non-functional features, right? Giving threads information, giving process information. They deal with that kind of information only. That's it, right? Okay. Spring Boot auto configure component takes care of what? Common activities of projects based on the starters and jar file that are added to class path, establishing connection with the database software. Spring Boot take care of basic activities of application startup and what? Execution. Recognizing property file, YML file, their content. Are you getting my point, my dear? Come on, everyone. Yeah. This is what? Spring Boot actuators. Then what next? Spring Boot starters. Just now I discussed it now, boss. Starters are special jar giving main dependent relevant jar files. That's one. Next one is what? Spring Boot tools. It will give support to work with what? Maven Gradle kind of. Maven Gradle kind of. Maven Gradle tools as well as custom Spring Boot loaders. All these are there or not there, guys? Super. Yes. Actuators deal with what? Non-functional features. Here everything is kept, guys. Actuator giving threads info, heap info, process info, health info. Side 2 that I also written what? Side 2 that I also written what? Functional features related to business logic of the project. Patient registration, doctor registration. Non-functional features not related to business logic required in the project. Health info, threats info, and etc. Are you getting my point, my dear? Come on. Okay. So these are the various starters that we are having, my dear. Fine. Okay, now I am talking about different categories of the starters. I'm taking what? Starters exclusively out of those many. First, what is case? Main components of the Spring Boot framework. Okay, in that one, starters is one thing. Now I'm taking exclusively about what? Starters. Now I'm taking exclusively about what? Starters. Spring Boot starter. There are 6 categories of starters, boss. 6 or 7 categories of starters. See how many categories of starters are there? This. Spring Core. Okay, what is there? Spring Core starter. The basic starters will come, guys, that are required to develop the standalone application. Web starter, web category. Using this, we can develop web applications and distributed application. Cloud starters. Using this, we can develop microservice architecture projects. Data stores. Using this, we can have connectivity with the database software, both SQL, NoSQL. Spring Data, JDBC, Spring Data, JPA, all this comes under this category. Next, message. Sometimes we want message-based communication between components, guys. For that one, we have to use Spring Boot JMS, Spring Boot Apache Kafka. Yeah, those starters are over here, right? Next, batch. Okay, I have a huge amount of data, 1 crore records, 2 crore record. If I try to load all 1 crore records into project RAM memory, the system will hang or not. So that time, what should I do? At a time, 20,000 record, at a time, 30,000 records. We have to load or not there. At a time, 20,000 record, at a time, 30,000 records, we have to load or not there. I want reply from you people, guys. I want reply from you people, guys. Come on. Are you understanding my statement, my dear? Got the clarity or not there, guys? Okay, that's good. This is called what, my dear? This is called what, my dear? I want reply, my dear. Okay. Batch. Okay, that batch starter is given for batch processing. That batch starter is given for what? Batch processing. This Netflix OSS is there. It will be used in combination with what? Cloud. Multiple services are developed as multiple projects, but in one moment we have to integrate them. For integration, some tools are required, and those tools are taken care by what? Netflix OSS. Netflix, you know, as a OTT company, but Netflix is a software vendor company. They got their own lot of software, like Amazon. Amazon, we know as a e-commerce company, but you don't believe Amazon got its own software. Amazon got its own, their own software. AWS is from Amazon. Come on, guys. I think jQuery or Angular is also given by Amazon, it seems. No. Angular is from Facebook, it seems. Meta company. jQuery is from Google, right? So they have got their own softwares also. They have got their own software. What's the specialty of Amazon, you know? They don't purchase any software from outside. They create their software. If you go to Amazon for development, they have Tomcat, but that name is not Tomcat. They use some other name. That means they created their own web server. They use their own database software. They don't want to spend money on what? Purchasing software licenses. Because they have such a team, they created their own softwares. Are you getting my point? Because money is there. When money is there, they do anything, right? Two areas, they are good. E-commerce business, they are world number one. Every country they are doing business, right? And nowadays, cloud platform is doing well. And AWS is number one in cloud. No software development is happening without cloud support nowadays. Cloud is they are good, right? And e-commerce, they are good. That means they are good in retail business and cloud business. And at the same time, they have other business also, like what? UPI payment they entered nowadays. Next, see, that's the specialty of Amazon. If somewhere they are spending money, means they create that service. They found phone pay this. Why you should give commissions to other people? Let's create our own API. Done. And OTT platform. They have noticed Netflix is doing well in OTT platform. Okay, Netflix is doing well in OTT platform. They noticed, by creating OTT platform, we can give some of the services free to our e-commerce business customers, right? Prime membership, something they created or not there. Because of that, business got boosted or not there. Fine. Okay, these are the various starters that are there, guys. Spring Core starters. Spring Core starters are there. Basic starters will come. Web starter for web application and distributed application development. Cloud starter for what? Microservice architecture based application development, right? Data store starters for what purpose? Database interaction. Message starters for what purpose, guys? For getting message based communication among the components, right? Batch starter for what? Batch processing. Netflix OSS is for what purpose, guys? Netflix OSS is for what purpose, guys? Come on. For getting communication between what? Microservices. For getting interaction between what? Microservices. Are you comfortable, my dear? Come on, everyone. The multiple microservice architecture project will communicate with each other using what? Netflix supplied third party tools, right? Netflix is not just OTT platform. It is a big software vendor providing lots of tools related to what? Microservice architecture based application development. Okay. See, I have given purpose. Starter purpose, cloud, microservice, data store to interact with the database of message for message based interaction between application, batch for batch processing. Next, web for developing what? Web applications and distributed applications. Netflix gives the tools required for microservice architecture based applications. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Good IDEs for Spring Boot or Spring Boot application. Eclipse, STS, IntelliJ. Eclipse, STS, IntelliJ. Multiple IDEs are there or not there? Multiple IDs are there or not there, guys? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Yeah. Every Spring Boot application contains one important annotation, that is what? At the rate Spring Boot application, which is combination of how many annotations, guys? Okay. But before that, I must say, what is the procedure of developing this Spring Boot application? Okay. First, everyone see the diagram carefully. STS plugin is there, guys. STS, Spring Tool Suite plugin. What plugin? You have to install either in Eclipse or what? ID IntelliJ. So that your Spring Boot project development becomes easy. Okay. By adding STS plugin either to Eclipse project or what? IntelliJ IDEA project. IntelliJ IDEA, IntelliJ. IDEA is the company name. IntelliJ is what? IDE name. Okay. We have to, that's one option. Or you go to website, give all the inputs. Okay, the website will create the Spring Boot project that you can import to Eclipse ID. That time there is no need of installing any plugin to the Eclipse. But we generally prefer adding STS plugin to Eclipse or what? IntelliJ IDEA, okay? And there only we give all the input. Thus ID, that plugin will talk to this website. Okay, we'll get the project and we'll directly get into the Eclipse ID. So final conclusion is Spring Boot starter project can be created in two ways. Number one, by adding STS plugin to regular IDs, which is best one, or go to website, give all the inputs. Okay, that will create one project. That project you can import to any IDE. But going to website, getting the project, again opening that project in Eclipse ID, headache, boss. Okay, you directly create project in Eclipse itself by installing what plugin, guys? STS plugin. That means before I start any project of Spring, I make sure that STS plugin is installed. Clear, my dear? That's good. Okay, then choose the build tool, Gradle or Maven, your choice. 60-70% we use Maven, then what? Then select the starters. And if you want to enjoy auto configuration means you have to select the starters now. Good news is you need not to add starters by opening pom.xml, guys. While creating project using STS plugin, some checkboxes are coming. You can select the starters. So that means the code required in pom.xml coming automatically based on the starters that we have selected. It is another interesting feature or not there. So far what we have done, we opened pom.xml, gone to mvnrepository.com. We added dependency tag by copying from mvnrepository.com. No need of that. Now onwards, there is no need of doing that. Interesting or not there, guys? There is no necessity of doing that, guys. Is it not interesting, my dear? Come on. Okay. Then what is next, guys? Spring Boot application annotation. By using that annotation as minimum annotation, develop the project, develop the code. Then lastly, what you have to do? You have to pack the code. But when you pack the code, you will get embedded servers and embedded database along with the code are not there. Okay, whatever packing you got, you release wherever you want. See the process? First one, select the, create the project. Fine. First one, create basic project structure using IDE or using website. So, okay, select the build tool, add the starters, develop the code starting with the Spring Boot application annotation. Come on, guys. And what is there? Okay, after that, pack the code. That packed code not only contains the code, embedded database software, embedded servers will be there or not there. You run the code or you run the jar file along with the jar file execution. Come on, guys. Along with what? Jar file execution. Along with the jar file execution, those things will be there or not there, guys. Okay, today let us concentrate on how to install this plugin, guys. Let us concentrate on how to install this plugin. To simplify Spring Boot application development, we need to install what? STS plugin. We need to install what? STS plugin. Farhan, get control on your keyboard. I think you are sleeping and something got touched. Yeah, help menu, Eclipse Marketplace, search for Spring Tool Suite. Go for. Some procedure is given to install STS plugin, na, my dear. But one problem is there. In recent versions of Eclipse, Eclipse Marketplace option is not coming. Coming or not coming, guys? Eclipse Marketplace option is not coming. Keeping that in mind, I have given a different procedure. Install STS plugin in Eclipse IDE without using what? Eclipse Marketplace option. Those are having Eclipse Marketplace, follow that. Those are not having Eclipse Marketplace option, follow this. Okay, now let me show that, guys. Help menu, install software, work with, paste the URL. Whatever URL is there, na boss, this URL you have to collect from ChatGPT. This is add. Select all the check boxes. Next, accept terms and condition. Finish. Collect from what? ChatGPT. Collect from what, guys? ChatGPT. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Super. Okay. Now let me show that. This is my Eclipse ID. By tomorrow, I want everyone to keep what? STS plugin ready. Otherwise, your Spring Boot development gives problem. Eclipse Marketplace is there, go by Eclipse Marketplace. If not there, okay, use the second procedure I have given. Use the second procedure that I have given. Yeah. Alia, how Eclipse is outdated. Ramkumar, what you said is right. We will discuss IntelliJ also. Eclipse is not outdated. IntelliJ is picking up. Still 60 to 70% is in Eclipse, but 20-30% is with what? IntelliJ. Definitely, Alia, one day we will learn IntelliJ also. Okay, na? Right. Maintenance process, brownfield is right. Spring Boot is better for greenfield, already mentioned then. Then brownfield process purpose is which one is best? Brownfield in which technology they are there, in the same technology you have to extend. Common sense, right? There's no question of choosing technology. Brownfield is already there in Spring. You have to go for Spring. Already there in Spring Boot. Spring Boot. That means don't try to migrate Spring to Spring Boot. It's there in Spring. Prefer Spring only for what? Fresh projects. Don't try to use a Spring Boot to convert Spring project into what? Spring. Santosh Kumar, I hope you got my answer. Okay. No teacher in Ameripet using Eclipse. Everyday class are teaching IntelliJ. In hostel saying we don't know IntelliJ. Can you prioritize, please? Alia madam, there is a plan for everything. One day we will definitely use what? IntelliJ. But first come out of the psychological feeling. Okay. IntelliJ only market leader. No. Both are having their market share. Okay. Every classes are at IntelliJ. In hostel girls are saying, we don't know IntelliJ. Can you prioritize? Madam, you don't know IntelliJ means that's good. Okay. Ram Kumar is giving reply to Alia madam. Comment industry, you will see. Yeah, see, I'm not saying IntelliJ is bad. Okay, IntelliJ is picking up, but it's still totally not dominated by. It's totally not dominating the Eclipse. Still, it has got its share. We also study IntelliJ. It's not like that. And moreover, industry won't entertain IntelliJ much because it's a commercial ID. It's a commercial. In Eclipse is what? Free. Okay. One fine day, okay, I will introduce IntelliJ. That day onwards, all projects will be seeing. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. Don't worry. I will take care of IntelliJ part. First, focus on subject. Right. Tell me, help menu. Here is what? Install new software. Install new software. STS plugin related something is there? Is there or not there? In my system already installed. That's why I'm not touching it. But how to get these URLs are won't be there automatically. Okay, then you have to, if not there, what you have to do? Click on add, type the name, STS plugin something, and here you collect the URL from ChatGPT or any other Google, okay, and paste here. Okay, how to get it? Fine, wait a minute. How to get it? How to make it? Yeah, here is what ChatGPT. In this place, tell me what is there, guys? STS plugin UR. STS plugin URL. Here it has come now, my dear. Legacy, no, STS 4 only. This is the latest one. It's coming there or not there. Just take it and paste there. Okay. Now how to do, sir? Once this, you have to select these check boxes. Simply next, finish. Simply it is going to be what? Next finish. We have to restart the IDE once, then plugin will be activated. What's the guarantee plugin is installed or not? Okay, proof number one, Spring Boot logo. This is logo of Spring Boot, guys. That will appear in the menu bar. That's one option. Another option is new project, new project. You click on, you check Spring here. Spring starter project option should come. Or sometimes in the file menu itself, you will see Spring starter project. In the file menu itself, you can see what? Spring starter project. Are you getting my point there, my dear? Come on, everyone. In the file menu itself, you can see what? Spring starter project. But somehow you have to keep STS plugin ready. Okay. Alia madam, for your confirmation, for your confidence, let me show in my desktop what is there. IJ is there. IntelliJ is there. IntelliJ idea is there or not there? Yes. We will learn, but right time. Not when you want. When it comes, when it's there's an order of learning. First become somewhat proficient in Eclipse to develop Spring Boot projects. After a few days, we will definitely learn it. Okay. Okay. Alia madam, see, if someone don't know how to conduct the exam, sorry, don't. Okay. I already said so many times to them not to give XML related question they are giving. Okay. I'll correct them. There is no need of learning XML based. Okay. Please. I have maybe old paper they might have given. There is no need of going by XML. I'll guide them. They're not supposed to ask questions on XML. Still, we are learning XML for the sake of knowledge. Industry is moved already towards what? Annotation space. Because if you start getting into XML, there's no end of learning that. Okay, because that totally different syntaxes, right? Okay. Alia madam, please go by industry. Don't go by hostel girls. If you go by hostel girls, you will be there in Amirpet forever. I am from industry. Please follow my guidelines. Many people says many things. Yeah, you said we raised one right question. In narrated exam, they have given few questions on what? XML. I will guide them not to give this one. This is because there's no ending at all. Because we are main course is what? Spring Boot. And Spring Boot is full of what? Annotation base. I'll correct them. That's my part. I will do it. That took 20 minutes to solve. We could not find selfless bean there. Selfless bean there. No, you don't find selfless bean. Now you will see in XML. See, no, okay, Alia, for your kind information, let me say one thing. If it is XML also, factory bean concept is same. Only the thing is, instead of writing at the rate component on the top of class, you should write by using bean tag. That's a basic common thing. Okay, since you discussed, actually they are not supposed to give, but I'm telling. In XML also, factory bean is same. Only the thing is, on the top of the class, don't write at the rate component, use bean tag. So now tell me, and factory bean is not because of XML. Factory bean is because of what? Implements factory bean interface. That will remain same for XML or annotation. Na? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Okay. Where is this star? That took 20 minutes to solve. We could not find selfless bean there. Madam, you are going in a wrong direction. Can you please? It's because of. I'll mail you question paper. That's good. Okay. Could you please share how many years of experience? One day I will share my journey. Don't worry about it. Okay. So one day I will share. I'm still consultant for two software companies. Okay, it's ongoing experience. Experience never ends that. Fine. Yeah, I think, yeah, what we are talking here, guys. Yeah. So I think everyone will be ready with this one. Eclipse Marketplace one. Come on, guys. Okay, that's good. So I want everyone to be ready with what? STS plugin. What plugin, guys? STS plugin. Fine. Yeah, now concentrate. In every Spring Boot application development, we have to use one common annotation. That is what? Spring Boot application annotation. What is the annotation? Spring Boot application annotation. Are you getting my point there? Super. Now tell me, okay, so it's a combination of how many annotations, guys? It's a combination of how many annotations, my dear? Configuration, enable auto configuration, then what? Component scan. Okay, let's try to understand one by one. Configuration makes that class as what? Configuration class. Using that class, we can give inputs and instruction to IOC container. Na? This is a known one, right? Next, enable auto configuration. Because of this annotation only, auto configuration takes place. This annotation collects all the starters that are added to the project. Come on. All the starters that are added to the project. Come on, guys. All the starters that are added to the project. Okay. Based on the starters that are added, start giving common things like making some classes as Spring Beans, injections among the Spring Bean, embedded servers, embedded database softwares, all this stuff, guys. Then what components can will do, sir? Though Spring Boot is making predefined class as Spring Beans, there will be user-defined classes which you want to make as Spring Beans. Okay, to scan those classes and to recognize them as Spring Bean, component scan is required or not required? So that's why when you are developing configuration class in Spring Boot, is there any need of writing two annotations separately? Configuration and component scan separately? No. You just write one annotation, automatically total 3 annotations will come or not there. But I have a question, sir. You are just writing Spring Boot application annotation. You are not mentioning package names to scan. What packages it will scan, sir? Because when I write as component scan, I will mention package names, right? But here you are not going to mention package name. What it will do, you know? You'll be adding on the top of some X class or Y class that belongs to certain package. That package will have a lot of sub packages, guys. That package will have a lot of sub packages or not there. I want reply, my dear. Come on. Okay, it automatically scans in the current package where that annotation is there, sub packages, recognizes all stereotype annotation, and later they will be made as what? Spring Beans. So component scan annotation of Spring Boot application annotation will scan current package where that is residing and sub packages automatically. Come on, guys. And searches for what? Stereotype annotation classes to make them as Spring Beans. That's why one small recommendation is there. What is that, you know? You take com.nt root package. There you keep one main class or configuration class, adding Spring Boot application annotation. And make sure that remaining all packages are sub packages to this root package. So what is the advantage, guys? So that component scan automatically scans all the sub packages or not. Because in com.nt you kept what? One class having Spring Boot application annotation. Remaining all packages you are going to make sub packages of this com.nt now, my dear. Due to this, what happens? Automatically all packages will be scanned or not there. There is no need of me mentioning package name separately or not there. That's intelligent thought. Now suppose in com.nt.x package, you kept a main class having at the red Spring Boot application annotation, and other packages are there in other com.nt.y, com.nt.z. Again, I have to mention package name separately or not. Suppose in the root package only I kept the main class having at the red Spring Boot application annotation. Remaining all packages are sub packages for com.nt. Without specifying package name itself, the default nature of component scan will scan all the classes for stereotype annotation classes are not there. For stereotype annotation classes are not there, guys. Come on. Yeah. Takes all the Java classes marked with stereotype annotation from current package and its sub packages to make them as what? Spring Bean automatically. To make them as Spring Bean automatically. Are you getting my point there, guys? Yes. So it's always recommended to place. Yeah, here you see my suggestion. In Spring Boot application, we generally take main class having at the rate Spring Boot application annotation in the root packages like com.nt, so that all the classes of that root package and its sub packages can be scanned for Java classes having what? Stereotype annotation to make those classes as what? Spring. Are you understanding my statement, guys? STS is a IDE, boss. Separate IDE. Developed only for Spring and Spring Boot project. But I don't want to install that IDE. But I want to get all the features of what? STS IDE to Eclipse. Then you have to install STS plugin to the Eclipse. By adding STS plugin to Eclipse, we can use all the features of what? STS IDE to what? Eclipse IDE. Convinced, my dear? Come on. To configure user-defined class as Spring Bean, we need to use stereotype annotation because we can add these annotations on the top of what? User-defined class. These are regular basics now, boss. To configure predefined class as Spring Bean, we need to use what? At the rate bean method in configuration class because we cannot edit the source code of predefined classes to add what? Stereotype annotations. I think we got some basics of Spring Boot programming. Let us summarize what is being discussed. Let us summarize what is being discussed. Number one, what is there? Number one, we discussed about what is starter. Okay, starter is a special jar that gives what? Main, dependent, relevant. Starter is a special jar because of auto configuration takes place. Number two, Spring Boot features. We discussed it is good for greenfield project, not good for brownfield project. Brownfield project, which is good, in which technology they are developed, they are only extend. Okay, next one, we understood. We understood the components of the Spring Boot, 6 or 7 component. Then we understood different categories of starters, right? And lastly, we discussed about procedure of developing application. Then we kept STS plugin ready, right? And lastly, one big annotation of Spring Boot programming is introduced. That is what? At the rate Spring Boot application annotation, which is combination of how many annotations, guys? 3 annotation. We understood each annotation or not there? Okay. Now let me upload the document to you people, guys. Come to this. What's your batch code? 7:30 a.m. This one? 17th July 1. Okay. I will create a folder. Spring Boot core. Okay, file upload. Ram Kumar, what if minimize boundary of scanning has been like only one sub packages which can be done component scan? Ram Kumar, in @ Spring Boot application, there is a provision to specify what package name also. There is a provision to specify what package name also. No problem. Please upload all the projects code till now. I think you are sleeping, boss. Already done. At least try to understand what's happening in the classes, my dear. Huh? My dear, please try to understand what's happening in the classroom every day. I think in the last class of Spring Core, I have done that. Or earlier only I have done. Yeah, already uploaded. There is a folder called Classroom Applications folder. There I already kept in the form of zip file. Okay. Let me confirm. 17th July, classroom applications. On 5th September, I have uploaded, and 30th August also I have uploaded. Please be alert, my dear. From Eclipse Marketplace, even after installing, restarting STS is not showing. Okay. Sabdik Akhtar, try with a cool mind. Don't do parallel practicals. Definitely it happens. Okay. Okay. Definitely it happens. If not happening, change the version. Still not happening, remove the existing Eclipse, reinstall Eclipse freshly and try. No option at all. You have to have that plugin. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.